Stephen A. Williams with Making Money with Stephen A. Williams here on YouTube. And this is a part 2 of the 50K blueprint video that I made the other day. And I was thinking that I kind of left you a little bit hanging about some of the things that you need to really pay attention to if you want to get to $50,000 a month with your product or service. Now, let me just kind of, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it from where we were, and then I'm going to kind of bring you up to the things that I was thinking about that you need to also be thinking about when you're looking at if your product or service could get you to 50K per month. Like, this is a very good exercise. So if you didn't watch the first video, go watch it, the 50,000 a month blueprint. Now, so what we talked about in that video is I talked about your product or service, how much, and can you get to $50,000? And I had detailed how you can get to $50,000, and we had used a $100 product, and we were saying you had to make 500 sales per month of that $100 product to get to $50,000. And then I went backwards because I was like, you know, if you start with where your goal is and you start to work backwards, you can kind of fill in the gaps of what needs to be done to be able to get you there, because we always want certainty. We want the biggest and the best, and we want everything in the world. But then when we start to look at how we're going to get that stuff, then that's when self-doubt and things about your the way, you know, your resources, all of that stuff starts to come to your mind, and that starts to chop away at your ability to be able to move forward to achieve your goal. So what I wanted to do in this video is to kind of just go from the goal and kind of backtrack, so this could kind of fill those gaps so you can have something to work towards, like something simple. I mean, yes, there's a lot more to it, and I'm going to get into it in this video, that there's a lot more to it. But if you just have this type of information to where you can say, okay, this is what I need to be thinking about, it can stop you from going all over the place, because there's a lot of people making videos and selling courses and programs, and people never do nothing with them. They do absolutely nothing. So if we start off that, okay, our product is $100, and then now we know that to be able to get to $50,000 a month, we got to have customers. Like, it's impossible. You're not going to just have $50,000 a month. So you got to have customers. So before people become customers, they had to be interested in what you had to offer. And I call that QPC, Qualified Potential Customers. Where do we get qualified potential customers from? We get qualified potential customers from our advertising. And I'm talking about paid advertising, because when I set up something, I want it to be something that's consistent, not where I'm just posting and doing all these things thinking that, oh, because it's free, it's going to bring in all these people. Let me tell you, that stuff, it can bring you people, but it's not something that's consistent. You want something that is consistent, where you spend some money and you know you're going to get a certain amount of money back. So to be able to get more qualified potential customers, we need to advertise. Now, this is where yesterday I had kind of left off, and I didn't kind of go into full detail about it. But for you to be able to get to that $50,000, a few things are going to have to work its way out. And by working this out, you will be able to see if your company, number one, if the product is priced at the right amount, because it may not be at the right amount to be able to support you getting to $50,000 a month. Now, it might help. You might be able to get to $50,000 a month, but you're not just doing it to get to $50,000 a month to have a gross income of $50,000 a month. You want money in your pocket, $50,000 a month, because you can take care of all of your bills, nice house, nice car, money in your pocket, money in the bank, like a lot of things. But if you can make, there's a lot of businesses that make $50,000 a month, and all of the money is going to pay for the things to support the business. Yeah, they got a lot of money coming in, but they got a lot of money going out. You don't want to be in that situation. So what we need to pay attention to, once we have, you know, and the thing about this is that you're going to have to run, this is some stuff that you're going to have to do live. Like, we can practice and put stuff on paper, boards, simulators. Like, there's some software out there that'll simulate stuff. All of that stuff is just to be able to bridge you to be able to just put it into action. So I'm just here to tell you, you're not going to find out until you put it into action. That's the way that I do it. That's the way that any successful marketer does it, is that you got to put it into action and you got to see if it's going to work. So when you're running your ads, and in this example, we had $25 a day budget, and it was getting 10 leads on the example that I had here. And so that means that the cost per lead is roughly $2.50. $2.50. And then, so that's the first thing that you're going to be paying attention to. Now, $2.50, you may be able to pay a lot more than $2.50. And there are ways that you will be able to pay more for your leads than other companies may be able to pay, because of other things that you can institute within your products or services. But that's later down the line. I want to keep you focused on your one product or service, because if you get that one thing going, you can expand it to a whole bunch of other things in your business. So if we're advertising, we're doing $25 a day, we're getting 10 leads a day, that's roughly, exactly $2.50 per lead. So now the next thing that we have to go through is we have to see, of these 10, and we had said that 2 people would end up purchasing from spending $25. So that means that for the sale, it would be $12.50 per sale. So how am I saying $12.50 per sale? Well, this is the reason why I say that, is because it costs you $25 to advertise to get 10 people. On average, you're getting 2 people per day that will purchase your product or service. If you divide that number up with your total spend, even though you're spending $2.50 per lead, when you actually go into how many sales you're making, it would be $12.50, because your spend for that day was $25 for that day. You made 2 sales. Leads were coming in at $2.50, but you only made 2 sales. And that meant that for you to be able to make that $100 sale, it cost you $25 to make that sale. And because it was 2 sales, your average per sale is $12.50. That means that your profit, your gross profit, is $75. So do we got that? Do you got that? Yet, let me hear you. Nod your head. You have it. I'm going to review it again. Your advertising is $25 a day. You're bringing in 10 leads per day. That's $2.50 per lead for your qualified potential customers. These are people who raise their hand that they're interested in what you had to offer. As long as you're transparent and consistent with your advertising here, these will be qualified potential customers. Not all qualified potential customers are ready to buy right away, but your job is not to worry about that. Your job is to present your information to get them to make a decision. And based on this example, we said that 2 people purchased. We split the cost of the daily budget, $12.50. If we had 3 people that purchased, it would make that cost lower per sale. And I'm sorry, so it would be $150 gross, because we had 2 sales. But so $75 gross per sale, $150 for the day. So if you look at the $150 and what you spent, you're doing very good. You could do this all day. You could just increase your daily budget $50, $100, $200 to hurry up and get to that number there. Now, there's a lot of stuff that you got to do depending on what type of product to serve. If you have a product, you can ramp it up pretty good as long as you have your shipping and your supplies and all of that stuff in order. If you're selling a service, then you might have to kind of make sure that you had the staffing and everything in place to be able to move that up. That's actually one of the businesses that I have is a service-based business. And what I had found until I started putting automation in my business, in this video, I got other videos on automation, But until I put automation in place, I had 15 new hires for that business. Once we started getting ramped up and we were at 50,000 and 100,000 a month, I ended up having to have 15 new additional people just to be able to keep up. And I had tried to segment it in all these ways, but you don't have to do that. But you can watch my automation video to see what I ended up doing about that situation. So we see right here, this is your blueprint. This is going to get you to $50,000 a month. Now, let's go over some things though. Let's go over some things, because I'm not here to like blow smoke up you. You know, I want to be fully transparent with how this is going to have to work for you. This is right here is like your ground floor foundation. You're going to need this for any business that you're doing. You're going to need this ground floor foundation to be able to move forward, because if you don't have revenue coming in, all of the other stuff you could have perfect and your doors are going to close. Trust me, I've seen that in a lot of places where it's like they got the best sign, best building, all of that stuff, but the business still closed because they don't have a foundation of how they're going to get a consistent flow of qualified potential customers. If you don't do that, it's just not going to work. So next thing, so you got your gross. And this is one of the things that I found out with my business is that you have your gross, and it made me have to increase my prices. You got your gross, but there's going to be a lot of other expenses that you got to watch out for, or that you're going to have. I don't want to say watch out for. There's just going to be expenses that you're going to have. But because you're building your business, you're trying to get stuff going, you can make these adjustments later. And don't be afraid of raising your prices. I've done that more than like too many times to even name here. But the things that you're going to have to keep in mind, here's my list of the things that you got to keep in mind that this is going to have to support. So we already know with that sale that we had already took that money out for the advertising. So we already know that our gross profit on one sale was going to be, for both. It was going to roughly be $75 per day based off of our ad budget. Based off our ad budget. And then if we made 2 sales, we made, I think that number might not be right. We got, that number is not right. Here we go. There we go. So for that day, we made $175 because it was only $25 for the cost of the advertising. So $175. So with that remaining $175, and obviously we're going to balloon that up to a lot more sales, but these are the things that you have to worry about. We just talked about ads, so that's already covered in there, $25 per day if you make 2 sales. But the other things that you got to consider is your payroll, paying yourself. You know, let me tell you a quick story. When I first started my first company in 1990, there was a banker, his name was Ken, and my wife and I had kind of had our business plan kind of thrown together. We were only 20 and 21 years old at that time. And one of the things that we didn't put in the business plan was how much we were going to pay ourselves. And I carry that to everything that I do now, because that is important. Don't make a business where you don't pay yourself, because you don't want to just be, you're paying everybody else, not paying yourself. By doing this stuff here, it'll help you be able to pay yourself, because you're not trying to start a business just to have a business. You want a business to be able to make your life better, to be able to make your family's life better, so you can have the things that you want to have in your life. So paying yourself, taxes, supplies, office, if you're going to lease office space, equipment. That's just a short list of some of the stuff that you got to be prepared to pay for with that $175, or if no matter how many sales you make, that's some of the things that you're gonna have to pay attention to that will take you to the next level, because the next level is going to be how you turn this into, if you're working somewhere, into replacing that income, and then to scale it up to be the big company that you dream about having. All right, please like this video. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed to it. If you didn't get a chance yet, go watch the $50,000 Blueprint Part 1 video. That video is very important when you have the foundation about why this stuff here, where the first part's about how I put that together. Thank you for your time. This is Stephen A. Williams with Making Money with Stephen A. Williams on YouTube. There's links above or below this video if you want consulting calls, or if you want to look at having us do some work for you, or if you just want to go through my trainings. I have trainings